We are recording now. Hello, Mary Barbara.
Hello, how are
Hi.
you?
I'm good. We are continuing our course, our conversations on A Course in Miracles, which we're having so much fun. And what I love about it is that we're building a resource for people to go to when they need like help with some of the terminology and some of the concepts of A Course in Miracles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very valuable. This would have been helpful to us when we started,
Absolutely.
to be able to just click into this. It's like
Yes.
continuing a meeting, really, when we do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Mary Barbara, I'm just going to say a quick little intro. She's been facilitating A Course in Miracles group since the 80s. And also, I was thinking about your history. You've actually been doing a lot of spiritual counseling. Like you did many, many years of spiritual
Oh, many
counseling,
years. Yes. Yeah.
like a spiritual director.
Yeah. Spiritual counseling and past life regressions and inner child work
Mm-hmm.
and all that. And that was all geared to forgiveness. It was never geared to like party kind of thing. Oh, let's see who you were when you were in the past. It was when I had people that were having issues with people that were not, they couldn't explain why this was such a big issue. And we would do an inner child or we would do a past life regression. And I was very clear with them that the focus was on so that we can forgive this, not
Right.
judge it more and not make them worse, but just our focus was to see it differently so that we could forgive it. And it
Yeah.
was quite successful, and people liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did a lot of many years in work, that type of work. I was kind of just like remembering that. And I will just say a few sentences about myself that I've been practicing A Course in Miracles since the 90s and doing a lot of meditation and meditation mentoring and teaching yoga and facilitating A Course in Miracles. So that's our like brief little intro. So I had something I really wanted to talk about today because I've been doing some meditation. I have my meditation practice, which is I'm very regular with my meditation practice, and we can talk about that in another episode. But in my meditation, I just got this. I don't know if you want to call it a message or an impartation or a revelation, but this clear message that awareness is a superpower. Like awareness is your superpower. And I just kind of like started writing it down like awareness is my superpower. And I was thinking about what that means. And also I was kind of just like teasing it out. Really, and this kind of piggybacks on that one video that we did about guidance, which I'll put the link to that video in the notes so people can click over to that. But without awareness, we don't really know what to forgive. Without awareness, we can't really get the message from our higher self of what guidance is. So I would like to talk about like awareness as a superpower and then kind of like what happens when you're not exercising your superpower. So
I like that. Yeah.
Okay. So
I like
that's
that term for awareness, really, because it is our superpower. I mean, whatever we're aware of manifests in our lives. What we're aware of is what's around us. That's why it's here. This is what we are aware of shows up. And we were reading today that section that I love so much. I could get my book while and talk about one. You got it.
Chapter 30.
But he talks about us as stars. He said, heaven, he said, the sky is God, heaven is God, and we are stars in the heaven. We are stars in the sky. And he said, the fact that you don't know it doesn't mean that you're not. He says, the whole point is, and this isn't verbatim, but
right.
He said, you still put your idols, the things that you value, the things that are so important to you. That's what you're aware of, and that's what you think is going to bring you bliss and everything. He said, you put that in front of your eyes. I was thinking, we cover our eyes and we don't realize that we're stars in heaven with every single thing that we could possibly desire. We put those idols ahead of it, and then we worship those idols, which are desires and addictions and all that stuff here on the illusion. then we worship that with our thoughts. We give it power.
Mm-hmm.
This has power. I have to work at this. I have to work at this. But if we could bring our awareness back to the awareness that that's our superpower, to get rid of all that, to be aware that we are the Christ, we are as God created us, all that disappears. Who wants it? It just disappears. It's like the sun comes out and takes away all the clouds that were in the sky. It's our superpower to be aware of who we are.
Yeah, and the course, we talked about this even in last week's, and I'll link that in our notes, that awareness that we are stars in the sky, we are innocent, but the course gives us specific techniques and a specific recipe when we become aware that we're having an experience of not being a star in the sky. So I'm kind of like using this as like the opposite. Like when I become aware that I'm not feeling innocent, that I'm not experiencing myself as a star in the sky, that I'm not experiencing myself as innocent and as a child of love, that the course gives, when I'm aware of that, so I'm going back to the awareness.
Yes, aware is everything, right?
The awareness is like my superpower. Once I become aware, then I'm like, oh, I know what to do.
Yeah.
I know what to do. Yeah. I practice forgiveness. I practice all the techniques that we've talked about. But if I'm not aware, it's like you said, my eyes are covered, and without awareness, I can't make any changes.
No.
I can make no changes.
You can only see what you saw, whatever you have in there, what you've seen already. That's the only thing you can see. You're not aware of that. There's much there. There's so much more out there for us. But I think that's so powerful what you said, though, about being aware of when we're out of peace, when we're out of the thought of God, when we're thinking thoughts that are not thoughts of God. And again, forgiveness, you do your forgiveness prayer. And then after that, every time that thought comes, you don't give it a lot of power. You just say, Spirit, I invite you into this thought. Or you say, that's been forgiven. Or you say, no, I am as God created me. Nothing can change that. There's steps to do. You do the forgiveness really good, the forgiveness prayer, or however anybody does forgiveness. I call it doing it really good, where I'm really feeling the feeling and focusing on the feeling and saying that prayer, whatever this represents, I'm saying whatever thoughts this represents. Could be a past life, it could be a minute ago, it could be anything. I give it to you to forgive and heal. So I do it really good, I call it. And then every time it comes up, I say, Spirit, I invite you into this thought. That's been forgiven. And actually now, often when I say the forgiveness prayer, it doesn't even come back. It used to come back a lot, because I had that pattern of thinking, like the rut in my mind was there, and I kept falling into the rut, like of thinking it. And I think I filled the rut in quite a bit at this age.
It's almost like when you start becoming aware of your unloving thoughts, it's almost like the more you become aware, the more you're aware. And it just seems like there's so many, because your awareness starts to become fine-tuned, because it's more important to forgive and to feel that peace than to keep your unloving thoughts.
You froze, honey. You froze
I'm
for
back.
a minute.
Okay. I don't know what I was talking about. Unloving thoughts.
Yeah.
I was saying that the more we become aware of our unloving thoughts, it seems like there's so many more.
Yes. Yeah. But
okay, now you're freezing.
I want to tell you, I thought that when I was younger, there is a finite number. Okay. I thought it was infinite, like every time, you pull up this and then there's going to be more and more and more forever and ever and ever. That just, because as we said, I've been in the course since 1982. And so for most of that time, I'd say the last 5 years it's been different, but for most of that time, there was more. There was more and more and more of awareness of thoughts that weren't thoughts of God. But I just want people to know that there is a finite number. You do get to it.
Okay.
There are little snippets of something will come, but it's nothing. It's just, you can click it right off. You just almost can say, Spirit, take this from me.
Right.
Spirit, take it. So there is a point where you don't have to work so hard on it.
Oh,
There
okay.
really is. And
Yeah,
because
I
I
believe
thought there
you.
wouldn't be, I just thought there,
Yeah. I
the more there is, the more there is, the more there is. It's like, oh
It's
God.
like once you become aware of red cars, like that's all you see. Like your eye is
Exactly.
tuned. Red car, red car, red car.
Exactly. Exactly.
But your message is, I'll just recap, your message is it does come to an end. It does get easier. Just stick with it.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not like an end, because there's still little,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't have temptations, I do, but this the easy to flip out, because the course says you're never upset for the reason you think. You're always upset because of something from the past. So now when I get upset about something after working all these years on myself, it's really current. It's about what's happening now. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I can click it out. Like now I have a dog. All those sessions we talked about. Oh, I don't have a dog. Well, now I have a dog, and I said I wasn't going to get a puppy, but it's all that was available, and I got a puppy. So he's my little teacher right now.
Mm-hmm.
I am just using it to heal my mind. I just think this is good exercise for me. And when he
Mm-hmm.
chewing stuff up, I say, "Oh, I'm using different brain cells." Do you know what I mean? It's not
Mm-hmm.
freaking me out like I got to give this dog back. I can't take it. That's always my go-to. But I said, no, this is good for my brain. This is like a
Yeah.
brain game that I'm playing here with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
So just so I can do that like with just a flip of the thought, like, you know what I
Right.
mean? With a flip of the thought. And don't get me wrong, there's sometimes I've said, this damn dog, really, I
Right.
have,
Right.
damn dog. And but it's just the passing, because I'm not dealing with the whole past, what the dog represents. I'm dealing with the dog now in the
Yes.
present.
No, I know
And
what you're saying.
yeah,
I feel like I would like to go more into that, and I'm going to make another note that we can do
okay,
that next time, and we can talk about um, this represents only the past, because I think that's like
yeah,
a really good um,
yes,
subject, and I think it's needed, and I think it's essential to working with A Course in Miracles. But I did want to go back to, so what you're saying is now, since you've filled in the rut more,
yes,
you've done like years of you've done your forgiveness work. You've been vigilant to be aware of thoughts that are unloving. And now when you have thoughts that are unloving, it's easier for you to deal with them because you're just like, oh, that's it has not really nothing to do with the past anymore.
yeah,
It's
yes.
current.
Yes, I
Okay.
had a little recent thing that did have to do with the past. That was my buddy when I had to put him to sleep, and
Yeah.
he had doggy dementia, and that brought up like in 1971, my husband had an auto accident, had a brain injury, and so he changed. This beautiful man changed into something else, and that's what happened to my dog. And it brought up some stuff,
Yeah.
but it was like it was intense, but it was short. Like,
Yeah.
how we say duration, intensity, and frequency.
Yes.
I find the intensity much more strong, but the frequency is less and the duration is less.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? But that brought up some things that I guess I needed to do. What I needed to do about that with the dog and putting him to sleep and everything was to know that what I did with Donald was all I could do. You know what I mean? It was, I mean,
Yeah.
I separated. We were married 10 years, and then for 5 years after the accident, we were together, and then I just couldn't live with him. He
Mm-hmm.
was picking on my son Donnie, my son Don, who adored him, and he was the light of his life before, and I just couldn't live with it. So we separated, but we always were connected. He was always there for holidays and stuff. But I think I always thought I should have been able to handle that. Like now, I knew then what I know now, that story.
Right.
But I think I had a little bit of, if I really loved him and whatever, I could have not separated, but it was what I had to do. And I had to do that with Buddy too. And so that brought
Yeah.
up that whole episode. But it wasn't a long lived, and it didn't affect me. Like I didn't get sick or anything or get a neck headache, or it was sort of in the present, but still was connected to the past. And so, I guess there isn't a finite number. There's still little threads but it's
Right.
different. But it's different. You know that you are doing it, You know immediately that you are. You're aware right away
Yeah, you're
when
aware.
you're
I
at a
mean,
peace.
that's like,
Yeah.
and and you're not scared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's one of the things where as you begin to practice awareness of the unloving thoughts, and you had mentioned in the forgiveness process of really just sitting with your feelings. And we've talked
Yes.
about that before because that's been so important for me to just like be able to be with myself without judging myself and telling myself a story and telling myself that it should be different. Like being with my feelings and then that's for me this beginning of the forgiveness process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because
Yeah.
you have to do that, or what I call it, you heal over. You still have all that there. It's like you have an infection and you heal over. You don't clean it out. Well, that thing is always going to be bothering you and always going to be there. You have to go into it and use, you know
Yeah.
how we talked about peroxide?
Yeah.
Forgiveness is like the peroxide that brings it all up. But yeah, absolutely. I was thinking of something else, but I can't think of it right now. But
Okay. That's
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah. So forgiveness, being aware, your superpower,
I like
be
that.
aware, start to pay to, like to me it's like I'm going to pay attention to my life because my
Yes.
life is speaking to me. My life is like giving me feedback of
Yes.
what's going on in my
Yep.
mind. So paying attention to your life, being aware, and then working the tools and being vigilant for love,
Yeah.
working the process of forgiveness and being vigilant for love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And here's the dog.
Oh, okay.
What I was going to say is, like we do with the tapping, it's like feel the feelings and feel
Yeah.
them real strongly, really focus and be aware of them. And then say, even though I'm
Yeah.
still get afraid of blah, 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 I deeply and completely love and accept
Yeah.
myself without judgment. You know,
Yeah.
because it's always about not loving ourselves. When we
It
become
is.
aware of what we're thinking, we start not loving ourselves. You
Yeah.
know, oh, I should have been better. How could I think this? How could I do this? You know, all
Yeah.
that judging.
Yeah. And like when we're unloving to ourselves, like to me, I'm like very vicious to myself. Oh,
Yes, it is.
all right. I'm feeling like I feel like it's a good time to kind of stop.
You sure? Because I can get him over.
No, we're at about we're almost at 30
Oh, we at the
minutes. So
time? Okay, because
yeah. So
everybody should meet him. This is Boo. His
hi,
name is Boo
Boo.
because he's white as a ghost.
Oh
He
yeah, he's
says Boo.
adorbs. He likes you.
He loves me, licks me too much, but
Ah,
he's a sweetheart.
he's a licker.
Yeah,
Okay, Mary Barbara, thanks so much for talking to me about awareness as our superpower.
I
And
love that.
yeah,
That's
Holy Spirit.
everything. Yes, you are good, Holy Spirit.
Yeah. So let's do our little goodbye. Love,
Okay.
love and peace.
Peace.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye, sweetie. Bye,
All
everyone.
right, let me.